Um, I coach snowboarding. I think I mentioned that on the forum.
Hmm.
And so I don't know. I just like to get better. I believe in
Sure,
getting better in whatever I'm doing.
sure.
And so I've spent enough time playing the game that would like to improve, or continue
Okay,
to improve.
okay. Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay, so how long have you been playing Overwatch?
On and off for almost maybe 3 years or so.
Okay,
I got into it a while ago, and uh, besides coaching snowboarding, I have a 9 to 5 job, and
gotcha.
so I'll get into it for a little bit, and then I'll get busy, and then I'll jump back in. And recently, I've jumped back in, like maybe last couple of months, and so I thought it would be fun to do some coaching.
Okay, makes sense. Now, interestingly enough, you are a tank player. So, has that always been your main role, or is you've swapped around over the last few years, or what?
Mainly tank.
Okay,
Um,
why is tank specifically then?
uh, at first, it was queue times, right? It was just quicker to get in and play, and I usually have a limited amount of time, and so being able to jump in and play quickly is important. But then I played the other roles as well, and at least previously I felt more impactful as tank and be able to, I don't know, it's dictating the engagements or the tempo, or um, it just felt better. Like when I play some of the other roles, I'm like, oh, I'm dead. I'm
Sure,
dead.
sure. Okay, makes sense. Makes sense. And then also you mostly like the ball and diva characters, but you do play 6R and ride depending on like if it was necessary or not. Correct?
Yeah, and I mean, and we can talk about that. I mean, that's something else that I'm like trying to figure out my hero pool, right? Of what I want to focus in on.
Okay, makes sense. Makes sense. Now, in your form here it says, as a tank player, I'd like some thoughts on rock paper scissors matchup versus OTPing versus limited hero pool. So talk to me about
Yep,
that a little bit.
sure. Yeah, I think that's the question. Is I understand there's 3 different styles of like brawl, poke, um, dive. Different
Hmm.
tanks typically have strengths in those different categories,
Hmm.
and so should I try to have a tank in each one of those categories, or just focus on one or two? Um, and
Sure.
then it's, well, hey, I'm playing ball. I'm enjoying playing ball, but I feel like I'm getting hacked, slept, stunned. Would like to swap to something where I can play the game. And
Sure.
so, like, what are some good compliments, I guess, if I were going to create a hero
Yeah.
pool that was coherent, and if I'm going to spend some time on it, like, again, given the choice, I'd rather play the ball or diva, just kind of faster characters.
Hmm.
But at a certain point, like if I'm feeding or feel like I'm feeding, or uh, you know, I'm fine switching, right? I don't
Right.
necessarily want to OTP,
Right.
and so but would like to be competent on those other characters. But sometimes I choose Zarya, and sometimes I choose Sig, and sometimes I choose Orisa, and so I don't think I'm especially good at any of them. And part of that I think is that I haven't really settled on other heroes.
Gotcha. I do think that like generally, if you're going to build like an optimal hero pool, you want to have something that at least complements the weakness of the character that you enjoy playing the most. So for you, you're talking about like Ball and Diva. You obviously have like mobility, high ground, lots of big open maps. Going to be pretty good for your character. But anything that's very in close quarters might be a little bit trickier. Now, I will say that I think in those situations, maybe Diva might be a little bit better than Ball. Maybe Diva likes the high ground maps, Ball likes the more broad, wide open maps. But if I were to recommend you to build a character around that, then I would prefer something that has brawl capabilities, like that Reinhardt, like the Zarya, like the Sigma, like the Ramatra, and Junker Queen, or so on. Um, Now, the key thing though is obviously more important than anything else is your execution, which I'm sure you're aware of how you're playing the character. Having
Sure.
the right character pool is nice, but not being able to execute on it is the more important thing, right? So,
Yep.
I think for you, I would say that Ball Diva is a fine hero pool. given how much that you're playing right now, I wouldn't even necessarily recommend adding another tank unless you really, really want to add a brawl tank. And then if you were, I would try to stick with just one. And it looks like in your form, Sig, Zarya, Ryan. So does that make sense?
It does. I mean, and I've been playing with Sig, Zarya, Rhine, Orisa, Ramatra,
Yeah.
right? And I guess I like, I don't know, the interesting characters to me that are, there's little fun nuances and
Yeah.
thinking about positioning and getting back and forth. And I was playing with Ramatra the other day and just the different like shielding and shooting and
Yeah.
different forms. Like I think when I started, I played a lot of Rhine, right? And he was great to start with. And if we're like, hey, that's really the brawl character that's going to serve you best over time, right? I'm almost just doing that so that I can play ball and diva.
Yeah.
When I can, I guess.
Yeah. I got you.
I don't have a passion around any of them, but I'd like to be good at one of them and kind of hone in on one that. And I don't know if there is a recommendation about like what's the best all-around brawl tank that's going to be good for,
sure,
whatever.
Sure. I would say given what you're doing right now, I think I would just pick the brawl tank that you enjoy playing the most. Really, truly. I think anything is going to be a big improvement for you. So I think just take whatever you're
having fun with. Yeah.
And because anything is going to be able to complement exactly what you need. So don't worry about it. You're already going to be a leg up from where you are right now. Like obviously if you're like playing Junker Queen and then they go Ryan, you're like, oh, well, Junker Queen's kind of hardened to Ryan. Yeah, kind of. But like, it's just not going to be like that percentage of difficulty is not going to be significant enough to mean that you need to pick up Reinhardt as well, if that makes sense.
Yep. Okay.
And I also think there's only a few maps where I think a Ball or Diva would be very, very difficult, I guess was what I would say. I would say maybe like, are you familiar with Control Center and Lijiang Tower?
Yep.
The in tight, right? Right. Yep. That's going to be where it might be a little bit tricky to play Ball or Diva there. I wouldn't even necessarily. You could play Ball or Diva there, but like let's say if you play Ball or Diva there and they go like Zarya or Sombra or some sort of soft counter, then the map and the soft counter might make you want to play Junker Queen. But yeah,
got it.
All that makes sense.
Yep.
Okay, love to see it. Let's keep going here. Any questions so far?
Nope.
Okay, let's take a look here. So, what do you hope to get out of the session? Talk about how to best make use of my time. Focus mechanics, game sense, individual heroes. Okay, well, the first thing you can do is to make the most of your time is to, like we talked about the hero pool, right? Drop the Rhine, drop the Sig, or whatever the brawl tank that you want to play. You stick with that one and stick with that, and then you can drop the others. That's going to help your time. Now, in terms of efficiency of your time, do you warm up? So you play about an hour a day, sometimes 2 hours on the weekends when you don't have to travel for work, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So then how is that time right now spent?
Usually it'll be a little bit of warm up in some custom game, more aim training.
Sure.
Sometimes a little death match as well. And again, but it's not long, maybe 5 to 10 minutes. Okay. And then hopping into usually just hopping into comp games. Sometimes I'll play a quick play game.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
I would say 5-10 minutes of deathmatch or whatever for warm up, and then going right to just ranked is going to be fine. There's not a whole lot more that you could do to trim up the time there. Really just play. What I will say in terms of play time, do you prefer Ball or Diva, or are you about 50-50?
More Ball, but I think I've been working more on Diva. That's the code I have recently, just to have her in the, strong in the hero pool as well.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, if you enjoy both, you want to try and keep it around 50-50, just so that the skill discrepancy doesn't gap as much, right? And then in addition to that, you pull in the brawl tank whenever it's necessary, and then you should be good to go. I think the only other thing I would say in terms of like if you really want to make sure that you're using your time efficiently, this sounds ironic, but try to take a short, like during your tank queues, try to get up and just stretch, move around, grab some water, get up from the computer or console.
Computer.
So just try and get up just to refocus, recenter yourself. allow yourself a little bit of recharge, even just while you're in queue for like 1 minute, even, right? And then go right back down again. That just allows that you to have a little bit of a mental reset so that you go into each game with the full amount of focus. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, so short break, tighten up the hero pool, keep doing what you're doing in terms of training time. I think 1 deathmatch and then to ranked is probably fine. Okay, and then in terms of what you focus on during that time, well, we'll get to that in the gameplay review. Help create an actual. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, I can. So I think about like, okay, I'm gonna think about Matrix this game, or I'm gonna think about booster usage, and sometimes that happens, and then a lot of times it just like goes out of my head with that the first fight. And
sure. Let me actually send you a video on that really quick. So sit up. So I have something I like to call the 2-fight rule, where especially when you're a relatively busy person, right? So a lot of things on your plate, a lot of things to worry about, not a lot of mental energy to devote. So when you sit down to play a video game and you're like, I want to get better at this, it can be very frustrating because you don't feel like you have like the mental stamina to go like full out, full focus. And like I said, you lose that focus pretty quickly. So what I like to do is I like to go into every ranked game with the intention to focus on whatever I need to practice on for the first 2 fights and just the first 2 fights. If I can, if that's my positioning, if that's my matrix usage, if that's my my cooldown management as ball, my timing, whatever it is, focus on that specifically as hard as you possibly can for the first 2 fights. And then if you forget, that's okay. That's still better than what you're doing right now, right? And then if you can reset yourself, like between the queues or even at the 50-50, like say the round ends and you remind, I got to remember to work on that. Great, do it for another 2 fights. Does that make sense?
Yep.
You don't need to be perfect. I don't think anybody I've ever coached has been able to remember to practice fill in the blank without losing at least a little bit of focus. It's just not possible. It's not possible. You want to get as close as you possibly can, but the harder of a worker you are outside of the game, how much how much time that you put into other things, and then how much energy you have, how much sleep that you get, all that's going to impact that. You can't really worry about it too much.
Yeah.
Best that you can.
Cool.
Only other thing I would say is there are tools that you can use to help remind you. Check. So, this is a video that you don't have to. I would not recommend using this particular video, but there are like things like this that will have like a bell chime like every 30, 45 seconds, right? And that's maybe something that you could use for your first game or your second game. I would not use that every time you play because you'll learn to tune it out, and then that kind of kills the point. But if you could use that to help remind you while you are playing, at least for the first game or 2. Make sense?
Okay. Yep.
Okay. Okay. Specific hero practice ideas. What do you mean by that specifically? I'm looking through your form. You said,
yeah,
the session?
I think probably just what I said. Like, and is when I'm playing, and maybe it's just like ability usage or positioning or something like that.
Right.
And I guess maybe that's what from the session we can say, hey, let's focus in on X, Y, and Z.
Okay.
And see how that goes. I think that's what I was referring to.
Okay. And have you given yourself goals before? Have you had feedback or ideas to implement before?
Well, kind of like I said, like I'll think about, hey, how do I make sure I'm just using my slam, or getting a boop and a slam right before I commit both abilities.
Sure.
So yes, I for sure had ideas, but again, they can quickly dissipate.
Okay. Makes sense. All right. Go ahead.
I do have another question.
Please.
Like from the at the start of a game, right? And what's going to help me? What should I be thinking about as I decide to go dive or brawl? And obviously I'll know the map and I'll know my team comp.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's if it's map with high ground, if my team is divey, right? That's easy. But what if it's not? What if it's a map with high ground and my team is brawly? Should I compliment the team or compliment the map?
I would say with your hero pool, I would worry less about complimenting your team. and
Okay.
worry more about the map. Slash, if they go, Sombra, Moira, if they go multiple counters to ball, I think even like 2 or 3 counters is doable. But if they're literally like going super cringe mode, like Sombra, Roadhog, Discord, then maybe. But I would consider more the map. I wouldn't worry as much about your team's composition.
Okay.
And I think the map reads are pretty quick. Let's do this really fast. So if I pull up a custom game here. Antarctic Peninsula. What do you think?
Probably more brawly.
Probably more brawly, but is dive playable there on some of those
Yeah.
rounds? I think so. I think really, yeah, all your heroes are relatively playable. Ball is tricky on one of the points, but you'll probably figure that one out. But pretty hybrid. Busan.
Which one is Busan?
That's the Korean, the one here. I'll pull this one up for you.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. I think dive can work there.
I think so too. I think that, in fact, some of these maps are some of the best small ball maps in the game, right? Okay, so let's keep going. I think Ilios was the next one.
I think dive ball can work there. Especially,
go ahead.
Yeah. I was gonna say, especially some of the ones like ruins where there's all the pillars and things to latch onto and swing around.
Lots can work there. Li Jiang? Talked about that one already.
Yep. I think ball can work outside of control.
Agreed. Nepal?
Which one is Nepal again? Sorry.
Yeah, it's the snowy one.
Oh. I should probably know these.
Okay. This one.
Oh, well. So this one I think can work really well with ball. Again, thanks to swing around. But the enclosed one, is it Shrine or...
I think it's Village, but yeah.
Yeah, those can get a little bit harder.
Sure. And even that one is doable in certain situations because even things like your mines are really, really busted when you drop them on point. Okay. Oasis?
For sure. I think dive can work there. I think dive can work well in those control maps that are more open.
Sure. Agreed. Now, what about Samoa? Have you played the new Samoa map?
I have.
Okay. What are your thoughts on that?
There's one that's kind of like Oasis, the university.
Yeah.
Right. That one with a big pillar in the middle. I think it can work there. There's one with a lava. Again, it's open, but I think there is a lot of forcing to the point on that one.
Sure.
That maybe brawl would be better.
Sure. Okay. What about Circuit Royale?
I mean, obviously, kind of a classic long range poke map. Maybe if they're playing poke, then diving into their backline work.
I think ball's pretty good in that map.
If you can get there.
Yeah, I think ball's pretty good in that map. One of the few dive tanks that feels okay. Dorado?
I think there's lots of high ground there on the first point and
Havana?
Second point. Again, kind of that long range map.
Junkertown, obviously, right? Rialto?
Yeah, I think it can work there as well.
Now, a funny thing about Rialto is third point might be tough with the ball.
Yes.
Remember third point?
Yep.
Something to consider. It's like this is not a broad brush we're painting with, right? It's mostly pretty broad, but there might be points where it might be difficult. Route 66 is another one, right? Great map for ball until you get to third point, and then you might need to go Diva. You might need to go that brawl tank or whatever, right? Shambali.
Yeah. I don't know. It feels a little more brawly there.
A little more brawly, yeah, but still opportunities.
Sure.
Gibraltar, same thing. Goes without saying. Obviously, New Jung City, really both flashpoints, right? Very, very flexible. Whatever you want, really.
Yeah, I think so. Actually, those are some ones I've had the most fun playing ball on. Kind of popping in and popping out.
Yeah, the only thing about Survas is sometimes the megas can be a little bit hard to find, but besides that, it's okay.
Yes, I'm still looking for those.
Yeah, Blizzard World.
Maybe again, like that third point could be hard, but I think it can work.
Same thing with Eichenwald with that logic too, right? Third point a little bit hard, but overall okay. Hollywood.
But yeah, I mean, it can work as well, for sure.
King Sura.
Yeah, definitely more brawly.
Definitely more brawling, but doable, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Doable, quite doable, especially on like first point and third point. Having high ground can be really helpful, right?
Sure.
Second point will feel awkward. Midtown.
The first point is a little hard.
Mm-hmm.
Second point, there's more room, and then
Mm-hmm.
it can tightens up on the third point.
Sure, Numbani. That pretty much goes without saying. Third point,
Yep.
disease, right?
Yeah.
Powder Isa.
Oh yeah, I guess we're picking a theme here. I mean, again,
Yeah,
that third point can get a little tough, a little tight.
Yep, Colosseo.
That long hallway, initial long hallway,
right?
yeah,
Miserable.
yeah,
But outside of that, pretty good,
right.
right? Esperanza.
Maybe similar to
Yeah.
Coliseum.
Yeah, a little bit more open. No, I think a little bit more open overall. New Queen Street.
Maybe like mildly open throughout.
Yeah, pretty open all the way through, right? Not really
Yeah.
going to be any bad points. So that's it. Like that's it. So
Yeah.
you're noticing that there's only a few exceptions, maybe a few points, and or if you're getting like literally they're going full counters, then maybe you need to swap. But yeah, I think you're good. You're good to go. You're good to go. And I think that's going to apply for the key thing here is that maybe a little bit of suggestions here and there for me, but most of this you figured out on your own. And I agree with your takes. So any future new maps that come out, your judgment's going to be relatively accurate.
Okay.
So you're good to go. Okay. Let's keep going here. So long-term goals, no rail rank goes. We just like to feel like I'm improving. Okay. Increase hero pool to have tank base in different situations. We talked about that already. What do you feel is holding you back from improving? Played some Overwatch 1, then a little in early Overwatch 2, now getting back into more regularly over the last couple of months. Started in bronze in Overwatch 1, now mid-gold. Very nice. Want to main ball, but too slowly reassigning to many counters. All the skills to do so, make it fun. Okay. Makes sense. Like I said, with ball, I think the key thing is learning how to play around and against your counters, and then also knowing when they have gone so hard into countering you that it might be easier at that point to swap. And I think there's a very tenuous line there, and we'll talk about that, I'm sure, in the game. Okay. Dad, full-time job, coaching snowboarding. You're a busy guy. Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't really have any other questions. Do you have any other questions?
Nope. I think I'm good.
Okay, let's take a look here. Yeah, no problem. Let's get out of this here. And if any questions come up, don't hesitate to ask.
For sure.
Okay, let me get the audio fixed here. So is this Diva, Ball, a little bit of both?
It's actually all Diva.
All Diva. Okay, so you're trying to pick up the Diva. All right, sounds good. Now, why do you enjoy Diva?
I think I just enjoy lots going on.
Yeah.
And being able to jump in and do some damage and then jump back and try to help the team and then look for opportunities to jump in and get kills. And it's just, I feel like there's a lot going on.
Okay, makes sense. Now, that's kind of what makes Diva difficult to play, is that there is so much going on, right? So I think that like one of the challenges that I always have is like when I talk about other characters, it's like there's usually mechanical difficulties, there's usually game sense difficulties, there's usually positioning difficulties. It depends on the character, right? With Diva, you got really all of that going on, right? There's a lot of things that you have to worry about. Doesn't mean that she's impossible to play. It doesn't even mean that she's necessarily hard to pick up. It just means that she's hard to master. So one of the things with Diva is that it's the balance between pressure and peeling, right? In other words, I want to be threatening kills versus peeling for my backline. So what is your philosophy when it comes to playing Diva overall? Do you have any?
Well, so, I've seen some of your videos.
Sure.
And have, I like that kind of whack-a-mole thought of like what's causing the most pressure on my team, where is there an opportunity, and kind of trying to play that in real time and moving back and forth.
Sure. Okay. Well, let's take a look. Good. A little bit of pressure up top. Now, what I would like you to do is I would like you to notice something about your matrix. Watch your matrix management here. You see this?
Yeah, I don't know that I have a strong philosophy. I know
Right.
I should be using it to eat cooldowns.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I think I kind of feather it and spam it.
Yeah. Makes sense. Now, I guess my question for you is a bit of a broad question here, but what are you doing right now? So I'm just going to let it play for a second, but what are you doing?
So I'm kind of confused right now. Because they've got this pretty good position on high ground here.
Yep.
I want to get over to the point. I'm wondering if we can just kind of squeeze through here with my team behind me. There's only a Junkrat off to the right, but then I'm thinking probably not. Like I'm gonna have to go do something up top.
Yeah.
And before we're gonna be able to rotate underneath
Sure.
the subway here.
Sure. So I want you to look at what you're doing right now. Is this reasonable? Is this good, what you're doing? Are you providing pressure? Are you, quote unquote, peeling for your team with this decision right here?
I think so. I mean, I think
so
that this is, there's obviously now looking at me and people fell back.
You're on the Ash, you're on the Mercy, got a little bit of pressure there. The problem here is look at your matrix, right?
It looks like it's dead.
It's dead, right? So the question is why is it dead?
Because I was flashing it down below.
And why were you flashing it down below?
Because I was being careless with it and not really thinking, hey, I'm going to need this in a minute.
Sure. It felt like you were thinking or confused. And so what you kind of did is you kind of floated in no man's land. So then once you finally kind of figured out what you needed to do, you didn't have the resources to do it properly.
Yeah.
So what's the solution here? So right here, I understand your confusion. I don't even think that you're stupid or dumb or not ignorant. Like it makes sense. It's a little bit confusing. You also got somebody in spawn right now too. You haven't even picked a character, right? So this is obviously not optimal, right? So what's the solution then?
That's right. I think I was like, are this game just going to end right now, or come?
So what's the solution though? Because the indecision with this character is will kill you because you don't do anything at this range, right?
Right. Maybe it's to hide behind a corner, and wait and get a full matrix, and then go to the top.
Take the time to just duck back over here, and just or just fly over here and sit and think for a second, and listen and okay, what's going on? All right, where do I need to be? And just like give yourself a little bit of time. It's like a lot of divas kind of exist in this gray zone where they're kind of doing something but not really doing something, and they just absorb damage. And I think that you've heard me talk about like the shotgun character and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But like even if you're trying to do that because you're not letting yourself like just chill and figure it out, then you're putting yourself in a really bad spot to do a really reasonable play. I like this. This is great, but I wish you had more matrix for it.
Right.
That's
all.
That's all. Nice. Good. Very nice. Unfortunate. That's okay. Okay.
So here, I certainly heard folks you say don't shoot the tank, but the tank is here, at what point what's the decision making to go? I see they're getting pocketed. Do I swap off the tank and chase the Mercy?
Let's just break it down case by case. Right now, who should you be shooting?
Orisa. I mean, it's the only one I can shoot.
Who should you be shooting now?
Orisa, in front of me.
Right in front of you. Who should you be shooting now?
Well, this is where I don't know. Like here, it seems I could swap to the Mercy.
Yep.
Why? Because she's in range.
Who has more HP right now?
Orisa does.
Orisa does.
She's got armor.
Right. So that's the thing is I know she's a slightly smaller hitbox. I know that she can fly away, but you will do more effective damage at this point in time to the Orisa by forcing the Mercy out or killing the Mercy. That's it. And I don't care if this is a DPS. I don't care if this is a support. There's more of a chance of securing a kill. There's more pressure by shooting the Squishy because the Squishy's here. Now, we've talked about it. Obviously, the support or the DPS might not always be this close, but she is now. So take it. So don't get locked in too much so that you lose what's going on around you, if that makes sense.
Yep.
You gotta weaponize a little bit of the ADHD, you know? Because this is what we're left with, right? Where you are on the right target, but then on the wrong target, and then even to an extent where you're missing a res right next to you, right? So that's okay. That being said, at least you were close to the Orisa. You do a lot of damage up close to Orisa, so I respect it. Go get him. Nice, 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 nice. Oh, she just goes up and over. Okay, you should be okay. Nice job. You see that the it's not, I wouldn't say it's a tick. Watch a matrix here. So like, oh, a little bit of soldier, okay. Look at this. What was that for? Right?
I guess when I see my team like peeking around,
yeah,
I'm like, should I throw the matrix out so that they don't, you know?
Sure. But if we look at this, this doesn't even really doesn't go consistently far enough to be able to, it's not even consistent for when he's speaking, right? It doesn't even quite go far enough. So I want you to just keep an eye on that. It's not a huge error, it's not a big deal, just something to keep an eye on. Now you're gonna have to be creative here. Like even that, you see it? For it? See that?
Yeah. There's nothing. We're shooting. They're not shooting.
Yeah. I like this. Now, why do you go here?
I don't know. I've never been up here before, and but you know that's where they were, and I thought high ground, and I thought shoot them from above.
Sure. What's your goal as D.Va? Like let's think mostly about like putting out pressure, right? Let's not worry about peeling. What's your goal? What do you want to do?
Well, get people to look at me, create space for my team, create an area that they can walk into.
Okay. How do you get people to look at you?
Shoot them.
Okay.
Be there, just be a presence.
Sure. Should you shoot them from high ground here? Or should you shoot them from high ground here? Or why would you choose this high ground?
Well, because that's where they are. And that's obviously closest to where they are.
Sure. Okay, so you want to make them look at you. You want to shoot at them from a close position. Now, why would you choose high ground here and not choose this corner here? The same thing, right?
Yeah, I guess, given the choice, I would choose high ground. I can see down, see more of what's going on. And
what can you see here that you can't see here?
I could see the Mercy.
And that's it, right?
I would know there was a Mercy. I'd probably see the blue beam down below.
And who could you pressure here as opposed to who can you pressure here?
Right. Like the Mercy as well.
Right. Great choice. I just want to make sure you're doing it for the right reasons.
Sure.
To be honest with you, go get that Mercy. Because if here's your choice, you see you have a very important choice here to make because you're like, oh, that's a squishy I can harass. Oh, there's a squishy that I can harass. Why would you choose Mercy?
She's much closer.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all there is. If the tables were turned and there's a Mercy over here, I'd go for the Ashe. She's closer. That's it. You need to be in. She's right there. Your team is fighting right now. You can see it. You can hear it, right? You need to go in. You need to go in. You have enough Matrix? You have enough HP? Let's go. But then by the time you do go in, you started to take damage. You started to lose Matrix. And you end up going for the Orisa instead because you've dropped from the high ground. Not great. Nice. I just want you to do this when you have full HP and full Matrix earlier in the fight.
Right, like 2 seconds ago.
Right, exactly. Because by the time you go for it...
Even directly from the high ground, it could have dropped in.
Right. And I think generally with your bomb, unless you see a huge opportunity, you're letting this Mercy live by bombing. She's right here. Kill her. Let the bomb the remech to enable you to go aggressively like you are right now. Because you've mismanaged your HP, you've mismanaged your Matrix, but it doesn't matter because you have bomb. Well, actually it does because you've used your bomb.
You're right.
Okay. Yeah, it's a lot of time spent on the Orisa when there are other targets available. That's the crucial part. It's not that you're focusing on the Orisa. It's the fact that you're focusing Orisa when there are other targets available. Makes
Got it.
sense?
Yep.
Okay. Now, this is tricky, isn't it? What should you go? Who should you go for here?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. If it makes you feel any better, I don't know either. Here's the thing. Though. When you see opportunities like this, obviously, like your team is about to fight. This is probably an okay time to fight. Choose whatever one you feel like. If you feel like flying all the way over here to Soldier is worth it to kind of keep him contested, that's fine. But are you going to be able to kill the Soldier in Mercy?
No.
No. But is that okay? What are you going to do?
They'll have to leave.
They'll have to leave, right? Or you'll quote unquote peel your team from this off angle, right? Okay. What would you do by dropping on top of this Moira?
Cause her to fade away.
Cause her to fade away. 4 CDs, maybe put her out of position. What would you do if you flew on top of this Ashe? Higher chance of a kill, right? At least than the Soldier Mercy.
Yep.
But she's also not being pocketed right now, so I don't know if like she's as dangerous. So there's upsides and downsides for everything. So let's just see what you do. So all I care about, I don't care what you choose. I just want you to do it well.
It's like I'm just thinking did none of those.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's
Oh, you know what? Here, actually, this was a question that I had.
Sure.
And then what we can let this play through is basically I'm just pushing cart here.
Sure.
And I'm like, well, should I just sit here and try to push cart while everyone's fighting, or do I want to jump up and again try to help out? I mean, I'm not doing much, obviously, from contributing to the fight.
Do you see right
cart.
now a huge opportunity on the enemy team?
I don't.
I don't either. Push cart. If you're getting free value from pushing cart,
yeah,
and there isn't a huge opportunity to do something else, just keep pushing cart. Okay.
What is the like?
Go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, like when do I push cart and when do I fight and what's the I don't know, principles, philosophy around
This is a great question. Is your team in the middle of a firefight right now?
They are. I mean, they're fighting against this. I mean, well,
kind of, sort of, right?
Kind of, yeah.
Sort of, right? Kind of, sort of. So, is pushing cart valuable for your team? Kind of, sort of, right?
Yeah.
So here's what I would do. I think it's okay to push cart if it's not being contested for as long as you'd like, as long as your team is not in the middle of something really, really hot, right? Or you don't see a huge opportunity.
Okay.
As soon as that opportunity presents itself, or if somebody else is pushing cart, then you can leave. Because here's the thing. The reason why pushing cart is value right now is because who else can push cart right now?
Right. No.
Right? Nobody. So then you can push cart and provide value that way. That's actually kind of like an elite level strategy. This is like Overwatch League level strategy where you'll put someone like a Tracer or a Diva or a Wrecking Ball who's very mobile, and you'll make them push cart, right? And then the enemy team drops to try and fight you, and then you just fly away from them and you fly on top in high ground. You got to get what I'm saying? You don't necessarily need to be doing that on purpose, but here's what I would say is if nobody else can push cart or nobody else is pushing cart, you can handle the cart as long as there's nothing else that's extremely important happening at that point in time.
And I guess sometimes I've heard, win the fight and then push cart.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But here we're kind of in the fight, kind of pushing cart, but we're getting cart pushed, and so maybe that's the right thing to do is push cart until the fight really breaks out.
Right. And what happens sometimes if you get a lot of cart push, your cart push will force the fight to happen, if that makes any sense. Mm-hmm. So do you see how your team is as a huge disadvantage positioning right now? Huge disadvantage.
Yes. Yeah,
how are you guys
rained down on?
It is very difficult for you guys to push that high ground, right? Yeah. So your solution might be to just push cart and make the enemy team do something.
Okay.
That's sometimes how these Overwatch, I don't want to get too in depth with it, but that's how a lot of these Overwatch 2 escort maps or hybrid maps are designed. Is that sometimes if the enemy team has like an overwhelming high ground advantage, they'll have the cart position to where it's kind of hard for the enemy team to contest the cart. So they have to deal with the cart. Think about Route 66 second point, right?
Yeah.
They're all on high grounds, right? So, but what can you do? You can push the cart. You can push the cart from even underneath the building, right?
Right.
So if you don't win the fight, you at least get an objective advantage. And so think about it this way. If you push the cart and keep pushing and keep pushing it to here, now you only have to win one fight to win the entire game mode. At least that's the second point, excuse me.
Yep.
Yeah. But I'm going to be honest with you, this is not an easy decision to make. Now, you hear what's going on, right? Tactical visor, BAP window.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
I ended up flying up.
I think that's probably smart.
try to take advantage of the window for a little bit.
I think that's probably pretty smart, right? This feels like something that your team wants to commit with, and having you here would be very, very useful, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not even necessarily thinking about you taking advantage of the window. I'm just thinking of you taking advantage of your team committing to the fight. Like, this fight is happening. Nice, nice. 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 Very good. And then you can go back to card if you want to. Or kill her first. But yeah, nice job. Really, really nice fight from you, really. Now, where should you be right now? This is the question. Because remember your goal is
The
Diva.
soldier on the left.
Yes. What's your goal is Diva?
To
Get close, right?
get close,
right?
contest
So
the angle.
you are not close.
Yeah.
And you don't need to be pushing cart. Why?
Because now we've got Kiri and Farah.
You don't need to be pushing cart because other people are pushing carts. So you need to go help your soldier on the off angle. Not just to help your soldier on the off angle, but kill soldier on the off angle. And see, this is, look at your HP, right? Look at your, look at how much damage you're taking, right? Don't do a lot at that range.
Right, right.
Okay, we cap. Love to see it. Uh-oh. Reaper time.
Yeah, yeah. This is interesting. We get camped here for a little bit. I don't know if there was a better way for us to kind of get out here. Well, it's not here. It's in like in
yeah. Okay.
next
In a second.
10 seconds. Yeah.
Okay. So I would say here. I appreciate you paying attention to Reaper Wraith being wasted, right? But
Yeah,
I do think once he fades out this far away, he's no longer concerned.
Okay.
So then you can deal with shooting the Orisa or shooting the soldier, the Moira, who are closer. So there's two ways of looking at it. He doesn't have his cooldown, right? So we can kill him, right?
Right.
Well,
right.
But also he doesn't have his cooldown. So what is he going to be doing?
Not contributing.
Not contributing, right? I mean, he even does it, right? He fades out. Now, if he had faded and stayed right here, you better freaking kill the guy, right? But I think in this point in time, remember, that's the whack-a-mole that we talked about at the start,
Yep.
right? This is a bad mole.
This is too far. Too far.
This is too far. Now you're the mole
Yeah.
that needs to be whacked, really. Ooh. I wouldn't hesitate to bomb there, to be honest with you. Like, just to get your mech back, maybe they can make a mistake, but it's also fine just to reset as well. You gotta be decisive here, right? Like, look at your Pharah, look at your Kiriko, right? Fight's dead. Don't sit here and do no gray zone diva, right? You either just, you know what, screw it, I'm just gonna go in for that mercy, bomb remake. I don't care if it's 3v5, I'm just gonna go for the kill, or you do nothing. No gray zone. Because you're just losing HP.
Yeah.
Right? That was good. That was a good whack-a-mole right there. But you should be full HP for this, right?
So I lose HP going in, I guess. I mean,
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the play of force in the Reaper out was fine, but so much of your resources is wasted in this like in-between phase. And that's, to be fair, understandable because Overwatch is a very complicated game. There's always a lot of things going through your brain. But that's something you want to try to avoid whenever you can. Sure. We take this. Nice job. Okay, let's okay, I guess we're visoring. What we're visoring, but we are visoring. Get him. See, your priorities here still, right? So you see Reaper in, you see him push into your team. You can force this guy's Wraith with Matrix and missiles, 100%, right? He's the mole. Now Orisa's the mole, but Reaper was very killable. Very, very killable. Does that make sense?
Killable and you know, into my back line.
Yes, exactly. Nice. Wow, that was really good. See, this is so good. I mean, this is fight winning decision right here. Go for the Moira. Oh, shoot, there's Mercy. Bam, right? Beautiful job. Back on the Moira. Love to see it. Now you're on the soldier. Woo! See, this is huge. This is... Now who should you be shooting right now?
Moira?
Moira. Ah! Brilliant. This is a perfect fight. Even just forcing your fade there is better than continuing to shoot the Orisa. Now you're on the Moira. She's won. Nice. This is a beautiful fight from you. This is a hard carry fight. With or without Nano. Nice job. Good. Haha. Maybe? Nah, too early. It's still cap though. Nice job. Nice job.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Any questions? What are you seeing so far?
Maybe some of the indecisiveness about that gray zone.
Yes.
Of like deciding where to go and when, and then some of the matrix management to ensure that when I do go, that I actually have full matrix to jump in.
Yes, 100%, 100%. Any questions?
No, and I think it's also super helpful to think about tank versus the healer.
Yeah.
And to rotate off the tank once the healer's in line of sight, I guess.
Sure.
Within a closer range.
Sure, 100%. Okay. No gray zone. You see what you're doing. I understand you're trying to matrix for your Ashe, but this is like one of the D.Va things where you're like, you just get poked out like 24/7. This is why you have to be so decisive, either in or out. You need to be very careful about this in between. I appreciate you even matrixing for your Ashe, but don't try to not peek while you're doing it. I like this position though. Yeah,
this felt a lot better. I think I was trying to hold a little. So maybe that's a question. Like, where should we have started this fight?
Where you're at right now. Where you're at right now. But why? Why? Because you're not going to be able to memorize a list of like 27,000 positions for each map, right? So what are you looking for?
Well, I mean, this is, to me, it feels great. I'm protected. Why? I've got high ground. I can look down and just shoot as they come through.
Yes, proximity, right? Proximity and some form of cover. Like we talked about, why is high ground good? We talked about it earlier.
Yep.
The ability to see past the tank and look for squishies, good cover, I think is the other thing that we didn't talk about, where you have just the ability to press S and have cover, right? This is great. This is really, really good. You're splitting their attention. You can matrix. You can shoot. And you notice that you're kind of ignoring the Sigma here because there's squishies right behind him and that you could shoot. And so now the Sigma has to freaking shield you. I mean, that's terrible for him, right? He does not want to shield D.Va. He wants to shield Ashe and Soldier, right? Like, these guys are way more dangerous than you, at least right now. But you're making yourself dangerous because your positioning is good. Now, this is the moment of truth. What do you think?
I end up going for the Bastion.
Why?
Closest to the team.
Sure.
Squishiest.
Sure. You ready for the whack-a-mole argument? You ready for this? I don't just want you to go for who's going the most aggressive on your team. I want you to also consider who's most killable for you.
Mm-hmm.
And Bastion is not the most killable for you right now. Why?
Well, because if he turns at me, he'll melt me, right?
How far away is he?
Yes, he's further.
Right?
I'm going to have to fly, and I'm going to have to get shot in the back from Ashe. And
so I don't think Bastion is a bad target by any means. I understand. But I also am wondering if you should just not drop and sit right on this backline and light them up. You're not going to kill them unless they make a mistake. But if you will shut down 3 people without risking your life, and I'm concerned about this.
Yeah.
I think you might just have to trust your team a little bit here. Now that will sometimes not work. I'm not going to lie with you, but you got to be careful. That's okay because he also overextends a little bit here. But at the same time, now you've allowed that Kiriko, you've allowed that Mercy, you've allowed that Ashe to walk up. And so now it's scary.
Well, yeah.
Oh, nice. Huge. So you didn't kill her, but she's gone. She's gone from the angle, and then now the Mercy goes back to her. And the Kiriko goes back to her. Brilliant. Whack-a-mole. Good. Only thing I would say is use your missiles here, to be honest with you. Light
Sure.
them up. At this range, use your missiles.
Yeah. I'm not sure why I said on that or didn't use this.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, I think I can look at this and be like, oh, you should have stayed in the Ashe. You should have stayed in the Ashe. But also, I mean, look at the Sigma's positioning in relation to your team. I think you could have sat on the backline here as well, but I actually think Sigma's also killable as well because he is so much more aggressive than his Ashe. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you made a major mistake. And then as the squishy walks forward, you kill the squishy. That was brilliant. I think it's just fine.
We just kind of just get run over there.
Yeah. I don't think it's too bad of a fight.
So
High ground's good, right? But what's the problem with this high ground?
I'm pretty exposed.
Well, what does exposed mean for D.Va?
Well, I guess I'm far away.
That's
so
it.
I'm not looking down over anybody.
That's
right?
it. That's it. You're far away. So you chose high ground because this high ground worked before, but this high ground only worked before because they were here. They are no longer there. They are over here. You're cooked.
Yeah.
And you see it, right? You feel it. So where should you be?
Maybe back with my team. Or that's somewhere over here. Yeah.
Sure. I think so. I mean, this isn't bad. It's a good bomb, maybe. Nice. Now, this is a perfect example. Go ahead.
From the bombing perspective, right? Sometimes I think, you know what? I'm not even going to worry about the bombs. I'll just use it as another life, right? And then other times I'm like, maybe there's something there. And I'll huck it, right?
Look for people out in the open, right?
Okay.
Look for people out in the open. So I figured this bomb was going to be good because everybody's looking up on that high ground. And I see this, and I'm like, I don't know if they're going to be able to get the cover in time. And sure enough, right? Sure enough. So just something to keep in mind. Now, I will say that this angle here has actually been pretty good now because now if you fly in this high ground, you see this?
Well, they're right here. Yeah.
Right. So I don't even necessarily know that if you needed to play with your team, you just might needed to play this high ground or play this angle and not do anything.
A little more slowly and let them walk into it.
Right. So your position might not have been bad. It was just bad at that moment. So it's okay at that point to do. Again, it kind of goes back to the first fight where we said it's okay to do nothing, to think about what you need to be doing, to think about how you need to be setting up. I think this is another one of those examples right here. I'm confident that this is going to work. Now, this is great. Whack-a-mole. Who's the most aggressive?
Sigma.
But should you go all the way back to Sigma?
Yeah.
You sure? It's tricky, isn't it? Right? It's the same kind of decision we had with the Bastion. Remember the Bastion, right? Where the Bastion was the most aggressive, but you were closest to these guys. So you know what? I think you should stay in the Bastion Kiriko. Let the Sigma die. Pray for his death. And make sure that there's no follow-up.
Like an inherent dislike of the Bastion as well, just from getting melted so much. I'm like, there's a chance to go in here. And
fair enough. But this is the right play, right? Because there's always a risk that if you go back, that all of a sudden now the Kiriko can TP and help the Sigma, and then the Bastion will shoot somebody, and it's like, now you're just here to do it. Look, see, Kiriko's not healing Sigma. He's healing the Bastion, and the Bastion might actually die here. Nice. That was good. Good job. Do it again. Oh, you put him on hog. That's okay. D.Va's pretty good versus this count. This is good, but remember, don't be scared of doing nothing.
Okay.
Like maybe I would just peek. I think I would peek hog here and like maybe use my micro missiles and just not peek. I don't want to peek Ashe. I don't want to peek Bastion. I don't want to peek Kiriko spam.
Because I'm not gonna by peeking them. I'm not really doing anything.
Right.
Letting them know I'm here and probably taking some damage.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing with the Matrix here. I appreciate you, but this is like it's not even
away.
It's not even halfway there. So just keep that in mind. Don't peek. Don't peek this. Don't peek this. Don't peek this. Don't peek this.
Okay.
Thank you. Nah, don't peek it. Don't peek it. Don't peek it. You might have to peek it occasionally to listen, but you don't need to peek it because that's just going to get you hooked. It's going to get you spam. It's going to get you lose your Matrix. It's going to lose your HP. Because even though look at your HP, full HP, right? You're good to go. But do you see it?
Yep. Matrix is 0.
And it's that you are about to reach the point in time where you are most valuable. They're walking under cart. You're getting flanked behind. You need that matrix now, and you don't have it. Right now, oh my days, this is beautiful. But I need matrix.
Right.
You get me?
And I've had matrix may have survived that.
And that's it. And that's it, right? That's it. I mean, that's a goofy error, but it happens, you know.
Yeah.
And that's all there really is to it. I love the positioning. I love the play. It was really nice. Like it just need a matrix for that.
Got it. So I mean, is the matrix then just being again more thoughtful and using it for the dives, not using it for the chip damage?
Because think about it this way. I want you to coach yourself how you'd play this. Pretend you have full matrix. What would you do? Now, keep in mind, you don't have to kill these guys immediately, right? So what would you do? We'll go 0.5 speed. You tell me to pause whenever you want.
I mean, right there, just stay on the stay on the ash.
Yeah, I agree.
Before I go past.
Right.
Because if I stay here, then the Bastion can't shoot me. Right.
Exactly.
But once I go past, I'm getting shot from probably both directions.
And you used your boosters. Because the thing is you don't necessarily need to kill these guys now. Because you're forcing an ult, you're forcing turret, you could shoot Kiriko TPs, Kiriko Suzus to peel the ash, and then you just fly away. No damage taken. Right?
Yeah.
So this is a committal, and it's a committal, like you said, on now 2 targets instead of 1. And then, I mean, there's really not a whole lot to be said here, you know? I mean, the only detail I would say is that I know he was 1, but I mean, I guess so. You still had some of that matrix in there, but yeah, that's unfortunate. Okay.
And I mean, I know we're at time here.
We restarted a few minutes late, so I don't mind going.
Okay.
Yep. I already let the next session know that we were running a little bit behind.
So like that, is that worth doing? Micro missiles from whatever that is, 100 yards away.
More so than it used to be. More so than it used to be, because the spread's a lot tighter now. So you could feel like this isn't terrible damage, right? It's not terrible. Now you just have a very important decision here. Like let's say before you get hooked, right? Because you're like, gosh darn it, where is everybody? Like how do I get close to anybody? So like this is another one of those fights where I think you're entering gray zone, but you need to not be gray zone. What should you do here? What's the plan? Maybe there isn't anything you could do here, but what will be available? Do you have any idea? Think about it for a second.
The Bastion's in front.
You didn't know that, I promise you, right?
Yeah.
No idea. Okay. So what would you do? Scout, right? Like you said.
Yeah.
Then what?
I don't know. Maybe back up.
Sure. Back up
with the team, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I can't push into the. I'm not probably going to push into the hog and try to get into the back line there.
Why? Well, why?
Because I'll just get hooked and shot by the hog if I try to go for the. If I dive in.
Is that a problem? Because there's going to be times where you dive in and it's still going to be the right play, right? But where's your team? I think is the question. Right?
Yeah. I mean, they're more back.
Why are you not going for Ash here, by the way?
Too far.
Aha. So if you go back and you deal with the Bastion, what is that Ash going to be able to shoot? Okay, that's the wrong Ash. Whoops.
Yeah. Whoever she wants, right? Because she's available. Or she's not being pressured.
But you see how there's like outside of the Ash here, what can she see now?
Nothing.
So what is she going to do?
She's going to have to reposition somewhere.
And then she's going to reposition somewhere where you can shoot her. You see that? So if there's this target that you want to go for that's too far away, don't worry about it if you can't reach them. Shoot another target that's available so that they have to rotate forward, and then you can pounce them.
Kind of let them come in. Yeah.
Right, because you're like, I got to shoot this. But just walk away from the hog. He's got nothing to shoot. Walk away from the hog, let them walk underneath, and then drop on them from behind. No, surprise. So, yeah, okay. Again, it's like these awkward moments where things get a little bit messy. Your indecision means that you do a lot of bad things. This is good because you're close.
There's 2 of us. And
Yeah. You actually do quite well versus Roadhog up close if you have your full resources. Very hard for him to deal with you. Because the worst part is even if he plays it very well, you could also just fly away. So if you start to lose a 1v1, you're like, oh, okay, bye. You know, so nice. All right, you got time for one more fight?
Yeah, of course.
Let's do it.
I think this is a slow fight where they're not they yeah.
Yeah,
It's-
yeah.
He keeps kind of wasting his hook.
Uh-huh. Which might mean for you, you might have to do a whole lot of nothing, right? You might have to try to avoid taking damage because you see what's happening, right? It's the gray zone again, where you're like kind of tickling and tickling and tickling, and now you're half dead. So that now when you drop here, you're still missing HP. You should be full here. Also, please, Matrix. I think your brain gets in the zone that you're like, I'm gonna bomb, and you forget all your abilities. That's okay. That's all right. Nano baby. Unironically, don't remech. I think I walk forward and I whip out the nano pistol because you lose the nano, right? So I mean, it's not really that big of a deal, and it's a huge risk. But if I knew there was like a bastion that I know I can safely shoot with nano, I'm gonna ping that guy. I'm going for him.
I'm not sure I realized I was even nanoed there.
That's okay. That's okay.
I think I knew I was nanoed, but I thought when I got back into mech, I would still be nanoed.
Yeah, it's tragic. Nice job. Nice job. You're going for a backline. Okay, so let's write some goals here. So, Diva, what are things you need to practice? I know we brought this up at the halftime, but we've seen a little bit more. What do you think?
I think it's decision making, and then maybe there's some decision making where it's okay to do nothing, and to let the other team walk in a little bit, so that my shotguns do something.
Mm-hmm.
For sure, I think the matrix usage and maybe being a little more selfish, judicious with it, so that I'm not just throwing it out and trying to potentially save a character that BAP or that I don't think was actually doing much.
I just don't think they were at a lot of risk, you know. Yeah. Okay. Random just when you decide to make a play. Okay. Anything else? Those are some big ones.
No, there were some other, I think good points around target selection between tank and someone else, or maybe there actually was a good point in general around target selection, and even though that bastion was most threatening to my team, there was 3 squishies right below me that may have ultimately provided more value to the team than flying off and chasing the bastion. And maybe there's a lot. There's also that Reaper, right, where chased him away. I do think about, hey, if people use movement abilities, there's a window.
Yes.
But if I've chased that window too far, then now I've left my team alone.
Yep. 100%. I think for you, it's just one thing at a time, right? One thing at a time. And I think like there's a lot of details that we threw in here. You're playing a very difficult character, so I would cross that road when you get there, right? For right now, just focus on these basics one at a time. But for the first 2 fights of each game, right? And then see what happens from there. Cool. I think there's a lot of things that you're doing.